Hi, I'm so happy you're here. Welcome to a new episode of the Kenyan Feminine Goddess. It's been such a long time, but I'm finally back. It's too late to say Happy New Year, so I'm not gonna say it, but still. Um, Today I wanted to talk about emotional intelligence, and without further ado, let's get into it. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotion in positive ways to relieve stress and communicate with others. Basically, emotional intelligence is a better understanding of your own emotions. So, I'll start off today's topic with a little story time. So, sometime last year, I had a follow up with a close friend, and we've been friends for such a long time. And so she got upset. I texted her, and she got really upset and to the point where she blocked me. So I couldn't ask what's going on or what I had said that made her upset. And so when we spoke later this year about what actually went down, and she talked about like things that happened prior to the whole thing. So basically, she had bottled up emotions that she didn't want to talk about. So one thing, this whole topic is just like I don't have like notes with me, so I'm just gonna wing it regardless. So I think like if you have friends who are closer to you and you have like this outburst and moments where you lash out, I think people who are closer to you, it's really unfair to them to suffer the wrath of your own feelings. You get what I mean? Like you lash out to me because you're feeling some type of way, and you go ahead to the extent of where I'm blocking you or I'm unfollowing you on social media. It doesn't really make sense. So I don't have pointers for this, but I think number one for this is don't suppress your emotions. You're allowed to feel it and let it go. You're allowed to feel every bit of your emotions. You're allowed to cry, you're allowed to journal, you're allowed to meditate, do yoga, whatever works for you. Do it so that you don't suppress how you feel, because this leads you to becoming such a better person later in life. And I think it's okay to also release friends because they were an emotional burden, regardless of how you feel on the inside. If someone is not bringing good energy to you, then it's okay to release them. It's not because you hate them or we don't agree on certain. It's like leveling up. When you level up, you leave some friends behind because we are not in the same they're not on the same alignment as you are. So you basically just, you don't stop being friends. You can check up on them once in a while, but it's best that, because just because they don't agree with certain situations that you're in or the beliefs that you are onto, I think I'm gonna say that it's toxic to have people who aren't emotionally aware around you and they're not having their emotions addressed. I mean, if I sit here and start telling you how negative things and how this and this, it affects your aura and your way of thinking, because I'm becoming like a burden. So I think it's toxic to have people who aren't emotionally aware and are having their emotions addressed, and they usually just like complain and complain about everything, and that's just become negative in so many ways because it affects your meditation, it affects your manifestation. You know, when you manifest, you also try to have positive thoughts and being be on the same frequency as whatever you're chasing, and this just becomes a whole other thing. Another thing is bringing your emotions to work or home. This is in regard to femininity. I mean, if you're feminine, you're not gonna go to work and start lashing out at people or your boss and be like, oh, today I woke up in such a bad mood. I used to be like that when I was younger. I used to come home from like school, and then just because I've had a bad day, then everybody's gonna have a bad day because, oh, Kelly had a bad day. And that's just wrong, you know what I mean? So you can't just come to work just because you had a bad night and just make everyone have a bad day just because you did. That's your you problem. Um, if you're having a bad day, don't let your emotions out to people, roll your eyes, etc. Always remember someone is going through something. So be kind. Don't put your emotional baggage onto others. Deal with your you moments and leave them at home. Okay. Another thing is Sorry, I'm trying to find my notes as well. Another thing is mood swings or your hormones, how they affect your emotions. You have to find your emotional triggers, whether it's childhood trauma, um, what triggers you. Find the root of what makes you upset. Like, let's say, I haven't dealt with my childhood trauma. That's an example. That's an example. So I come here and start telling my friend, "Oh, but you say this about me." It's really not what she said. It's what I am going through. I have to find the root of what's affecting me within me. And we tend to not understand what we go through most of the time because we haven't sat down with ourselves to understand who we are as individuals. And I think personally for me, 2020 was the year where I actually sat down with myself to really understand the kind of person that I am within me. So I think it forced most of us, like all of us, you just have to sit with yourself, understand who you are, to the point where if someone says, "Oh, but I know you," no, you don't know me like that. Like, you had to actually sit down with yourself, stay with yourself. It's really hard to actually sit with your emotions and your thoughts because you're scared and you're constantly trying to find validation or something as a distraction online, on social media, where we try to escape the reality of things that are going on around us. And I think for me, 2020 was the year where I sat down with myself and understood what triggers me, what makes me upset, what sets my soul on fire, etc., etc. You know what I mean? And you have to learn how to react in certain situations, whether it's at home, it's at work. You have to understand, because there are five what is it called? There are five. I'm gonna say there are 5 stages of emotional intelligence. There's self-awareness, there's self-regulation, there's motivation, and then there's empathy, social skills, etc. So I think you have to find this online, but you have to understand what someone is going through. You have to read the room, like walking with someone, and you have to understand how people feel. Empathy. If someone came to me and said they're sad, I'm not allowed to tell them, "Oh, why are you sad and you have all of these things?" Or, "You have all the money in the world, why are you sad?" No, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel whatever you're feeling. And I think that's the most important. You have to understand all these 5 stages to really get to the root of what we are talking about. I feel like I'm going off track here. But anyway, I'm just gonna go on rambling. So yeah, you have to understand how to act or react in certain situations at work or at home, and just not throw tantrums at people because you're upset or you're going through something. If you're going through a you moment, you have to find time to deal with your you moment alone or at home, or whatever place that you feel that's appropriate for you individually. And so I'm also still trying to find my notes. So yes, another thing is emotional anxiety. Whatever triggers your emotions at certain times, like your birthday, how do you feel about that? Or certain events, how do they make you feel? So yeah, you learn to receive and perceive things differently, and learn how to process. You listen more and you talk less. You have to be understanding, and yes, exactly, you have to be understanding. Okay. You're not supposed, I don't think you're supposed to make decisions where you're upset, because even with the story about my friend, when she was talking, she made the decision to block me and unfollow me on social media for months. And then I asked her, like, what was, which is a bit extra, I mean, which is fine, but do you for you when it's that time. If you feel like that's the right move, like you don't feel like talking to me or a space, it's okay not to talk to people. It's okay to take time for you. It's okay to listen to all your emotions, find your triggers, take time for you to understand what you are going through and deal with it, whether individually or you can talk to someone, your closest friend, or you can find a psychiatrist or someone online. I don't know, but whatever works for you, I think that's important as well. Don't make decisions while you're upset, because if, let's say, if she blocked me and I wasn't the kind of person, I'm the kind of person who asks questions. Like, I want to know what made you upset, why did this make you feel this certain way. Like, I want to correct myself. If I made you upset, I want to know, why did I do this? Did this make you upset? Because I don't want to do this to someone else. So I would like you, as my friend, as someone that I've offended, to tell me, Kelly, you said this and this and this, and it made me so sad. And I'll be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I truly apologize for making you feel this certain type of way. And if whatever you did made me upset, for me to make such remarks, then vice versa, I think. And so, be acknowledging of your mistakes. Accept that when you're wrong, and apologize, which is also part of this. And I think this whole topic of emotional intelligence is a whole other thing, and it's a whole topic, because as I was doing this, I don't have like notes, but actually it's something that I've been through and I wanted to talk about, and it's something all of us have done. You've come home from work upset, and you want everyone to be upset because so and so made you feel some type of way, and you don't know the root of that, and that's why you have to sit with yourself to understand what's wrong with you as an individual, or what's going on with you as a person. Okay, if you say things when you're upset, and maybe let's say you block me, and I'm not that kind of friend that will go on and ask you, oh, why did you block me, or why did you feel like this type in, because I did that because I want to know where I went wrong, and I wanted to apologize. I don't want the friendship to end because of something that I did. Even if it's ending, I want it to end on a mutual agreement that even if I was wrong, then I'm going to apologize. If we were both wrong, then we are both going to apologize and to understand where we went wrong, so that next time I don't do that to someone else. So if you end up doing things or making decisions on a whim which are hasty, and some of these things will get you to jail for sure. You end up stabbing someone because you're upset. That's why you have to find the root of what's bothering you as a person exactly. And so, yeah, you end up regretting later because you did something that's upsetting, or you did something that you're gonna regret, and you maybe probably end up in jail. But the jail part is a bit extra, but yes. But you have to listen more before you speak. Think about your response. If it's not something that you want to talk about, you just say, I'm not ready to talk about this. And yeah, you just say it's not the best time and leave it like that. And I think if it's someone who's understanding, they're supposed to understand whatever it is that you were going through as an individual. So basically you have 5 things. Acknowledging your emotions. So you have to sit down with yourself, understand who you are. And I think we still have so much time to get to know ourselves, for us, not for anybody else. You just have to understand you as an individual, which also helps in like other areas in your life, like dating, your preference in friendships, or whatever makes you tick. It's like so you acknowledge your emotions. Anyway, sit down with yourself. Then you have to differentiate and analyze your emotions. You have to understand. You have to accept and appreciate your emotions. You don't suppress them. You embrace them. Know what ticks you, what triggers you, etc. You also have to learn how to handle your own emotions and other people's. So if I came into a room and let's say I'm upset, or I have to read the room just because I'm upset, and I walk into a room and everyone is happy, all smiles, then I have to be all smiles too. I'm not going to ruin the mood and be like, oh, but this thing happened to me at work today, so I'm mad. No, I just have to go with the flow, and just don't tell people your emotions just because you're upset, or your close friends. You'll kill the vibe or whatever energy that's going on in the room. So anyway, that's my little story I feel like I've rambled on and on. I hope this actually makes sense to someone. I've had such a long time thinking about how to do this video, but anyway, it's rambles and rambles because I can go on and on, but I feel like I'll be repeating myself over and over. So thank you so much for watching. I'm doing another video soon. I'm gonna drop it tomorrow for sure, or the day after, but thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy to be back. Let's engage more on Instagram at the Kenyan Feminine Goddess. See you guys soon. Stay safe. Love and lights.